G'day fellas, and welcome to the first look at the Atlanteans. Now in this video we're not going to be looking at any gameplay, but what we are going to be doing is taking a look at the tech tree. Now you might be wondering, how the hell am I accessing this? Let me explain. This weekend there is a stress test that's going to be happening for Age of Mythology Retold. If you haven't already, make sure you head over to the Steam page, scroll on down, there's a little button down here that will say join or something like that for the playtest. Hit that, you get an email normally saying, hey, you're verified or something like that, and then you can hit the play now button, download about 25 gigabytes. It's free, anyone can join. But let's get into it and talk a little bit about the Atlanteans. So, as you can see, this is a multiplayer stress test. This is all that we're going to be able to do. We can't even watch replays, though I'm sure there's a little bit of a way around that. Don't worry, we'll get into that later. All you can do is play multiplayer. So right now, the servers aren't online yet. So if I try and play multiplayer, it just says I've lost network connectivity and I can't do anything. But I don't need network connectivity to go into the tech tree. That is correct. Now, the Egyptians aren't going to be available in this stress test. So apparently for all 3 of the days, we're not going to have the Egyptians, but we will have the Atlanteans. So we're going to be going over the big changes that we can see with the Atlantean pantheons. And we'll also, I think it's just important to touch on this, time zones. Let's just get this out of the way. Currently, right now, it's 6:16 p.m., 4 hours to go until it actually unlocks and then we can start playing. So by the time this gets uploaded, it's probably going to be, you know, like another 3 hours. I'll leave a link in the description to where you can see your time in comparison to this. But if you haven't already spotted out your city and roughly where it is, well, there we go. So let's start off. We're going to go through Kronos first, then we'll go to Oranos, and then we'll go to Gaia. Mainly because Gaia is going to be my main squeeze. That is going to be Bay. Let's take a look and see what they have got. Now, of course, for anybody wondering why this is the first time we get to see it, so for the previous beta that we got, basically it was all blocked out like this. We could see some of the skills and the the minor gods that were available, but we couldn't see what actual civilization bonuses they had. And obviously there's going to be an element of going off the originals, but there's also some pretty big changes that have come through. So let's dive in and take a look at Kronos. His focus is siege and myth units, can time shift buildings to new locations. So tower and palaces cost 50% of their price to shift. Others are free. Buildings are constructed 25% faster per nearby manor. Receives 2 free myth units instead of 1 when advancing to the next age. And lost siege and myth units return 20% of their resource cost. So already I'm seeing some really cool synergies here. I haven't played a lot of the original Age of Mythology, but I know about Kronos and I know how strong his rush is, and that is definitely something that is going to be present here with the new Kronos. In particular, one of the things I'm looking at is the fact that you now receive 2 free myth units instead of 1 when advancing to the next age. So there's a couple of things that immediately come to mind. The first thing is, okay, are we just going fast mythic every single game? Because we've now got 2 of every unit instead of 1 of every unit, so it naturally makes sense. But I could see like a really nice way to play it where you could take advantage of saying going into our Prometheans early on, looking to pick up the double here. Of course, you've got the alluvial clay, which increases the amount of offsprings that they've got. And now because you've got more offsprings coming from that alluvial clay, that means that you're taking advantage here of the myth units returning 20% of their resource costs. So you've got the Promethean that returns the 20%, and then you've got the offspring that's returning the 20%, and it adds 1 more Promethean offspring. So I suspect it's probably like the original, gives you a couple of offspring, but now that's going to push that number even higher with this upgrade that they've got. Now, another thing to note is that you have the ability to time shift buildings to new locations. This is for free, but have a look at this. So here we've got deconstruction, which is just the base god power, but here we've got temporal chaos. So Kronos increases the number of buildings that can be simultaneously time shifted and reduces the cost of time shifting defensive buildings. So now all of a sudden, not only can I move 1 building, I can move 3 at the same time, and it reduces the cost for a palace, so if we take a look at the palace, bring it over onto the tech tree right now, probably towards the end, here it is. So the palace is 300 wood, 300 gold. So at the moment, if you wanted to shift that onto, let's say like an enemy player's gold vein, maybe you're mid-fight and you just want to shift that bad boy up to a gold vein that they're not really paying attention to. How much is that going to cost you to do? So at the moment, it says that towers and palaces cost 50% of their price. So you're talking 150, 150. That's a lot. But then if you get temporal chaos, that reduces that cost by 50%. So instead of paying 150, 150, you're now paying 75, 75. So it almost pays for itself in what? Basically two shifts of a palace, and it will pay for itself. So definitely worthwhile. Also, you can increase the amount of have multiple concurrent time shifts. That's the other thing. So you can be moving multiple things at once. So maybe you can hit 2 gold mines at once, 3 gold mines at once. I think that the biggest thing that I'm going to love seeing with this, though, is some sort of early aggression. So I'm expecting big rushes to be coming out of Kronos, but then going up into the heroic age, because you're able to take advantage of these 2 free myth units. Now, naturally, I'd be looking over here at Rhea and thinking, okay, Rhea, I love your trader ability, but it doesn't really give me much synergy with this 2 free myth units, because I've got 2 behemoths. They're great, but they don't really do too much compared to what we've got over here under Hyperion. Take a look at this. We utilize chaos, which forces the enemy forces to attack each other. And now all of a sudden, they're kind of standing still, right? And now because instead of having that one Satyr, we've got a second one that's double the damage that we've got, because it's huge AoE that's going to be coming out there. We know how much damage they can do with that AoE move. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see, some sort of combination of a little bit of early aggression straight up to the heroic age, and then looking to try and maximize your efficiency with chaos together with 2 satyrs, maybe even 3. Who knows? Maybe you throw in a Gemini as well. What do we get for Gemini? Increases the satyr's damage and area of effect by allowing them to throw more javelins. So they get a greater area of effect and more damage, which is exactly what you want for these 2 units in combination with chaos. What a great combo that you've got there. Really, really nice to see. All right, well, that's Kronos out of the way. Let's move on now to Oranos and take a look what he's serving us today. So Oranos, Lord of the Skies. So his focus is vision and mobility. He can build a new sky passage each age. Units can enter sky passages to instantly travel between them. All units have +5 line of sight, and damaged enemy units remain visible for 25 seconds. Initially, when I read this, I feel quite underwhelmed. For anyone unfamiliar with the sky passage, let's see if we can find them along here. They should probably be along the top up here. I'm gonna try my best to spot it. Oh, I'm looking. Is this it? I think we found it. No, that's not it. So the sky passage, think of it like a warp gate, basically. That's essentially what you've got, a sky passage, right? And so you can utilize that to go across the map. So you can build a new sky passage each age. So imagine in age 1, you get access to 1. In age 2, you get access to 2. So in the end, you can get up to 4 sky passages in the mythic age. But we do take a look and see. So we've got Oranos. So his bonus is Oranos increases the speed of infantry units by 10%. That's not a lot of synergy with like what's going on here, at least. Oh, actually, no, I do kind of take that back. When you think about, okay, so if you've got sky passage, you're going to be moving around the map, right? Like the theme is mobility. Okay, that makes sense. All right, I hear you. And then now you've got extra 10%. 10% infantry speed is kind of wild when you think about it, right? Like that's going to be affecting all your Atlantean infantry, and Atlanteans have got a lot of infantry. If we take a look right now, keep in mind they've got 2 production buildings, well, at least 2 main production buildings. You've got the barracks, and then you've got the counter barracks, the military barracks, and then the counter barracks. So infantry would be your Arcus. You'd also have your Murmillo up here. So plenty of units that would be affected. You've also got your Kata, I think is probably what you call it, and then you've also got your castle units or your palace units. So you've got your destroyer and you've got the fanatic that are also going to be affected by that. So 10% speed is definitely something that is that's a really strong bonus. So now all of a sudden you've got more line of sight as well, and damaged enemy units remain visible for 25 seconds. So I think this is actually really nice. For defensive playstyle. So I would suspect, I don't know, but I would suspect that we'd probably see Oranos looking to play into maybe a little bit more of a defensive playstyle, opening up with a second town center quite early, looking to get a sky passage on both of the town centers just to be able to defend both of them quite easily. That to me makes a lot of sense. And then once you hit the heroic age, you've got that third one that you can then open up, whether you put it onto your third town center or whether you think about looking to put it onto the enemy side. That's another option for you as well. But the thing I like about damaged enemy units remain visible for 25 seconds is that if you get raided, you're then able to see those cavalry units wherever they might be going, and you're able to prepare for that raid. Because you're playing in the dark, right? You've got the fog of war around you, so naturally it's going to be pretty difficult. So I would suspect that instead of looking to play into into more aggressive styles, we're probably going to see them play more defensive, and I suspect that that's going to be encouraged by Oceanus. Oceanus, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So you got some pretty cool looking spells here, god powers here. We've got Carnivora, which spawns a giant plant that pulls humans and ships in and devours them. That sounds pretty scary. And then we've also got down here, we've got Weightless Mace, which increases the Catapulta's speed and attack. So now the Catapultas, which is already getting 10% bonus infantry speed, is now also getting 10% speed itself. So you've got a unit with plus 20% speed. That's kind of crazy. And on top of that, probably because you're going to be playing 2 TCs, I think Hyperion's probably going to have a little less impact. Probably going to see more impact with something like Thea, because you've got the Hesperides tree, which allows you to train those Dryad myth units, which are down here. They cost gold. One thing to note, though, is these don't appear to cost population. So these might be one of those really, I guess you could call them luxury units, where they cost gold, they don't cost any population, so you kind of save them until you're maxed out, then you can probably get them. I don't know how good they're going to be, though. And then, I guess, playing into the mythical age, realistically, when it comes to the mythical age, I mean, you've got decent options here, right? Like, you look at this, the Tartarian Gate, this is obviously great, but then you can play into the mobility of Vortex, again, which allows you to transport your units. And we can't fail to mention Oranos, and, of course, his most iconic ability, Shockwave. So it is still there. It is still going to send units flying. Let's take a look at our final Atlantean god for today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Gaia. It is going to be my main squeeze. I've already decided. I had a look at before this video started, and I said, I tell you what, that looks amazing. I can't wait to get in there. So, Gaia, the goddess of the earth, starts with hero citizens, and promoting citizens to heroes costs 25%. And I know that anyone who's new to Age of Mythology is going to be reading that and thinking, what the hell? How do you have hero citizens? What the hell is that? I'll explain. Don't worry. We'll get into it. Economic guild upgrades cost 30% less and can be researched and age early. Economic buildings, town centers, manors, economic guilds, and markets grow lush. And lush heals friendly units and buildings 1 HP per second. All right, so that's it. So originally, lush wasn't particularly useful in the original Age of Mythology or in the subsequent editions that came out. So it's received quite a big rework. Just give me a second here. Sorry, I'm a bit sick at the moment, so I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat. A little bit of Red Bull, fix that up. Probably not. That's probably the worst thing you could have for it. So you've now got Lush, which heals, but that's not the only thing that it does. Take a look at this bad boy right here. Channels. This is the unique ability or unique technology available to Gaia. Gaia increases the speed of units traveling her Lush. Movement speed on Lush plus 15%. You know, we were just over here talking about 10% infantry bonus, speed. It sounds great for Oranos, and now you just go and give Gaia 15%. This is like creep gone crazy, like for the Zergs, basically, from StarCraft or StarCraft 2. Obviously, you've then got Weightless Mace on top of that for the Catapulta, so now you've got anti-cavalry units that can run probably fast as or faster than cavalry on that Lush. So Lush is going to become a really important mechanic here for Gaia. So let's take a look and sort of get a bit of an idea on probably the way that she's going to play. So you're playing as the Atlanteans. My understanding, if we take a look at the treasury page and head over to the pantheons and click on Atlanteans here, it tells you a little bit about them. So the Atlanteans scout by using their oracle. Atlantean soldiers are fairly expensive, but each one of them can be turned into heroes. So that is correct. You know those really powerful units that have extra bonuses against myth units? Every single one of your soldiers can be turned into a hero. That's kind of wild. In later ages, units can be trained from the palace, are the most powerful. Atlantean citizens, so that's their villagers, gather resources and construct buildings. Citizens are slow, expensive units that do not require a drop site to collect resources, and the Atlanteans gain favor by stationing oracles around the map to commune with the gods. So for all you Age of Empires 3 players out there that are having a little bit of trouble with the drop sites, I've got the civilization for you. It is going to be the Atlanteans. This pantheon is by far, I think it's probably going to be the easiest pantheon to use. And I suspect that once you start using it, you're probably never going to really play anything else, just because I suspect it's going to make a lot of aspects of the game so much easier, right? Like, you never have to worry about villager pathing. You never have to worry about your drop site being in an awkward spot or running your vills away. You're never gonna have to hand in extra resources before you build something or before you switch resources. It's just, you know, they're instantly handing it in as soon as they've got it. So now that we know that, let's take a look at some of the bonuses. So you start with hero citizens, which I'm assuming gather faster than normal citizens. So the other thing to note is that if we take a look at the town center, you can see that the citizen is very expensive. It's 85, 15 wood with 2 population, a build limit of 50. If we take a look at, as an example, let's head to our bad boy Zeus. 50 food for a vill, 1 population, 100 gather build limit. So it means that these guys are chunky boys and chunky girls, 100 resources for each one of them. So it reminds me a lot of the settler wagons from Age of Empires 3 Germany. Now, of course, for anybody who knows the lore, there's a good chance that Age of Empires 3 was the mechanics from the original Atlanteans were probably were inspired. I should say the original mechanics for Age of Empires 3 were inspired by the Atlanteans, because I think they did come first. Not do I think, I know. So anyway, the big one for me is this one right here. Economic guild upgrades cost 30% less and can be researched and age early. So naturally, my mind comes to the thought, okay, what economic upgrades can we get that are going to be impactful, but get them an age early? That's pretty big, right? So let's take a look. Here we've got our economic guild. So starting off, you've got the hand axe and the pickaxe and husbandry, which are all available in the first age. Upon aging up to the second age, you've got access to plow. So if we take a look at, as an example, Oranos, he's got the same stuff that's in here. Now, he doesn't have this bonus. Gaia has this bonus where everything comes down an age. So that means that technically you can get the plow upgrade in the first age if you really wanted to. I wouldn't recommend it. If you're making farms in the first age, things aren't going too well for you. But it does mean these 4 technologies are brought down into the second age. And there's some big ones in here. Naturally, you'll see that there's a farm upgrade, there is a wood upgrade, there is a mining upgrade, but this is the big one. This is the moneymaker, leather armor. Have a look at this. Extra 25% hit points on your vills, so now they're more durable. So it means that your vills are going to survive their raids for longer. Means that they've also got more damage. So you can see that we've got makes villagers more durable by increasing their hit points and damage. I think this is a massive upgrade. This is the equivalent of like a greatcoat upgrade in Age of Empires 3. This is... I'm trying to think, the textiles upgrade in Age of Empires 4. This is huge. And combine this with the fact that you've got channels, which is increasing your movement speed now. You've got villagers that are running faster and that are healing on their lush that have also got more health. And it just basically guarantees that your villagers are going to stay alive for a little bit longer. Not to mention the fact that you've probably gone into Oceanus, you've gotten your weightless mace, and now your catapultist. Like, I just don't see you ever raiding this civilization. I don't see how it happens. It's just not possible. So anyway, those ones obviously come down into the second age, and then our final upgrades for the Mythic Age, they come down into the third age. So it basically means that these numbers are a lot more available for Gaia. It also means that they're a lot cheaper as well. So these numbers that you're seeing here, 150 food, 250 wood, that's going to be reduced down by 30%, which is kind of wild when you think about it, right? A 30% reduction on top of getting in an age early. So you're going to be able to get dividends on these upgrades a lot sooner. Really, really cool. And then let's talk about what else have we got in here. So economic buildings grow lush. So town centers, manors, economic economic guilds and markets. So if we take a look, so that's our eco building. So I wouldn't be surprised. So if we have a look here, town centers, you've got a build limit of 1, and obviously they can be built on settlements. We've got here our manor, which has got a build limit of 8, and it supports 20 population. So you've only got 9 things that can propagate lush, and ideally you want to have lush spread over the entirety of the map. it's going to cost you a lot to do that. So you probably don't want it over the whole map. You just want it over the relevant part. So you want it between your bases and you want it towards the front so that you're healing and you're running faster. Kind of like, it's basically like playing the Zerg, but in Age of Mythology. And then you've got the Economic Guild, which doesn't have a build limit. So this is going to be a big component of your Lush expansion. Only costs 95 resources. And you've also got the market. If we take a look over here, actually, where is the market? Market, where are you? Somewhere around here. We ain't seen you around Where is the market? Is it not in this? It's in the Second Age. Of course it's in the Second Age. I'm looking for it. I've probably seen it. And I know people are raging at me like, no, you've gone across it like 7 times, Drongo. I know, but no, it's in the Third Age. Why is it in the Third Age? Why do they have markets in the Third Age? Okay. So they're already wise. So what it's going to be, I think it's just going to be people spamming across the entire map economic guilds. I think you're just going to see a whole bunch of economic guilds spammed across the map just to propagate the Lush, because you get that extra movement speed, you get that little bit of a heal. It's not a lot of heal. You got to remember, it's only 1 HP per second, but that's 60 a minute, right? Like you idle out for 60 seconds, all your archers are healed up. You idle out for 2 minutes, all your cav is healed up. That is a serious amount of healing. It is not to be understated. So I think your best bet, I wouldn't be surprised if we see like Gaia playing a 1 base style. 2 base makes sense, but the thing is, and you've got to be really careful of this is something I did quite a lot in Age of Empires 4, is you have to remember that there are so many different ways that we can expand our economy, right? Like we can go into a town center, we can go into a market and get our upgrades. Sorry, did I say market? We can go into an economic guild and get our upgrades. We could drop a market and start trading, but we don't necessarily want to do all those things at the same time. We want to try and focus on one of those things, and then once we decide on our next step forward, we should look to that step. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Gaia have a little bit more of a playstyle that's oriented around the Second Age. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a 2 TC opening for them, just simply because of Carnivora. Now, technically with Leto, they do have Spider Lair, but I'm always apprehensive about this type of thing where you have to, it's a bit more defensive. So target an area to place spider eggs, which will hatch and burrow. The spiders will devour enemy human soldiers that cross through the area, but eggs can be destroyed before they hatch. So I'm apprehensive about an ability like that just because you can't really use it in a pinch. Whereas like when it comes to the Carnivora, spawns a giant plant that pulls humans in and devours them. We'll have to wait and see exactly how strong it is. Obviously, we don't have long to get there. And we don't have long to actually to go and test it out. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 2 TCs, Carnivora on the defensive, maybe like start building up your Lush, maybe moving into a couple of Catapultus, and then maybe looking to hit the heroic age once, I don't know, maybe once your enemy goes up or something like that. I'm sure there's going to be like timing pushes that are very difficult to deal with though. Like how do you deal with a Loki 10-minute heroic timing push with that? That's going to be okay. I'll have to head back to the drawing board. Anyway, that's going to be it. We'll leave it there. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video. If not, let me know why, and I'll look to include that constructive criticism for the next videos. But other than that, let's just double check back in on the time so you can see we're at 6:37. So this will probably be uploaded in the next 23 minutes. So not too long to go. 4 hours to go, and we're going to be in like Flynn. Anyway, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.